you do if someone pulled up to your property and said, "This is my property now," and maybe you were trespassing, even though you were free and clear of any mortgage or tax obligations? I'll bet you'd have a canary. You see, ladies and gentlemen, there are people, agencies, government factions that want to take your property, and many have succeeded. Your home, your greatest asset in most cases that you may have worked your entire life to keep, suddenly in jeopardy. You don't believe me? Well, my guest Judy Papenella will tell us all about what was a surprise then, but now I've seen it for the 6th time. Some evil factions are at work in real estate these days, and it's time for us to open our eyes to truths you would not ordinarily believe nor understand. Welcome, Judy.
Thank you.
First, I'd like to ask you how you got started in this, because this is a very serious issue that does supersede others. There's other properties that we're just discovering, aren't we?
Yes.
Okay,
More than I want to admit to. It's
Right.
actually frightening. The couple that own the property, Bob and Donna Force, they're personal friends of mine.
This is how you got started?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Bob and Donna Force are personal friends of mine. And neighbors. We all live in Patchogue Village. Bob was talking to me one day about what was going on what we call the Force Farm up in Gilbertsville. And I'm like, that can't happen. They can't do that. No, it's not true.
Gilbertsville is way
Gilbertsville is in Otsego County.
Okay.
And it's actually just outside of Cooperstown. So I listened and I'm like, no. And then he told me more and more, and I became enraged at what I had heard and how the county had done what they have done to this family. And that's how I got involved with it.
Could you remind me, because I did happen to see a little clip, which you're going to see the clip pretty soon about the property itself that our director's going to put up, but who was that person that came up, a sheriff or somebody, or some stranger that came up to the property?
That was what happened to another individual. What actually happened to Bob and Donna, just so you understand the Force Farm, we call it that, it's a piece of property up in Gilbertsville, New York. It's 111 acres of property. They bought it back in 1986. They paid off their entire mortgage, so it was mortgage free, and all they were paying taxes. And their taxes are frighteningly just a little over $6,000 a year. The issue with the sheriff, I'll explain at another point. Just so you also understand, Bob and Donna, Bob is a Navy veteran. He's a gentleman who also, after 2001, went and joined the Air National Guard, just recently retired from there. And his wife, Donna, who once was an extremely active individual, is wheelchair bound with multiple sclerosis. She's had severe problems with the MS, heart condition, and severe diabetes. She's not doing very well. And I got involved again, as I'm saying it, because I know these people. They're good soul people, hard-working, good individuals. And I wanted to help them out. You help your friends. If you don't help your friends, you don't deserve friends.
So what did you do first? How did it go?
Well, just to get a little history of it, the land grab as to what happened. In 2014, in July of 2014, actually July 15th, Donna called up the Otsego County Treasurer's Office and said, I want to pay the taxes for 2011, which we're back due, and 2013. The Treasurer's Office said, sorry, can't pay. The property is already on the auction block and will be auctioned on August 20th, 2014.
Did they have any kind of notice that they could have been forewarned about that happening, or that was the position they were in?
There was a notice. It's a little interesting here. 6 months, the county wanted the property. There's no other way to put it. 6 months before the county legally could have started foreclosure proceedings, which was January of 2014.
Okay, the dates aren't that important.
Well, it is important. It's important for one reason. They were 6 months before the actual closing date for the year.
That's what you can say.
And by doing that, they took the property illegally. Bob and Donna have a home also down here on Long Island. What happened was they received a notice that their house was in foreclosure. When you get a legal proceeding, you've got 60 days to respond, or 30 days to respond, and otherwise it's a default hearing, or it's judgment, sorry. What happened was they thought it was their house in Patchogue. So they're running rabbit to get all their receipts to make sure everything is done. They're calling everybody. They're calling the bank. The bank goes, I don't know what you're talking about. Let me check with the tax collector. Calling Suffolk County. And they're going back and forth. And in the amount of time then they finally figured out it wasn't this property, they turned around and go, oh my God, it's the property upstate. Well, by the time they figured that out, Bob was in the hospital having knee surgery, second knee surgery, and proceeded to turn around, and Donna said, okay, I'll just take care of paying the taxes. She had no idea that they had the default judgment and the house was already on the chopping block for auction. The county wanted the property, period. There's nothing more you can say. That's it. When you want it, they take it.
Yeah, but okay, at this point in time, do they still own the property? Is it being held up? What's happening
At this
right now?
point in time, no. What happened was they did end up selling the property. I'll just give you a quick synopsis of
Okay.
what happened. And I gave you a copy of a form so you could have an idea. It's the Save the Forest Farm. It's called the Aggressive Foreclosure Line. Basically, first of all, people have to understand, their fiscal year does not run from January through December. It's July 1st through June 30th of the following year. The Forces paid 2010 taxes. They missed 2011 because of the simple fact Bob was in having his first meniscus and 2 ulcer surgeries, so he wasn't in the best of financial positions then. They were late that year to make payment. November of 2012, they paid 2012 taxes, so they were paid in full. 2013, they failed to make the payment on time. As I said, she called on July 15th. Donna called then, which would have made the county able to now start the foreclosure proceedings. A year later, which is normal, these are the considered normal procedures, the county would then sell the property a year later in the August auction. Well, that's not what the county did. The next form that you have is really what happened to the family. In January of 2013, they started the foreclosure proceedings. The Forces thought it was their patchogue home. They turned around and they got their default judgment. They took the deeds and ownership of the property at the end of, I think it was February, and I'm sorry for not having the correct date. And when the Forces called up to make that payment on July 15th, they were told, we cannot accept it. Your house is being auctioned in August. See you later, bye. You're done. You lose the property. That's when Bob and Donna turned around and got a lawyer, because they knew something was wrong. They contracted a gentleman up in the county that they thought, since he worked there, he knows the area, who was actually a former county lawyer, to help them. He didn't file 4 of the most important documents, and I don't have the proper legal names of the documents, to make their case valid. They went to the appellate court with the documents, improperly filed. The lawyer dies. Again, you can't make this stuff up. I mean, this isn't a Stephen King story. This is reality. He dies. Another lawyer comes in and buys his book of business, or his cases. I don't know the proper statement on that.
That's right.
Buys it. Bob goes up and meets with him. He says, I don't know how to handle this case. I don't know what to do on it. He ignored Bob's case. Appellate ruling came through. See you later, bye. The deed that was the sale that happened back in August of 2014 was now validated. And they lost their farm.
So what was improper about
What was improper? Well,
other than
first
the
of all,
dates I can see were wrong, but I
the
mean,
dates are extremely wrong.
Yeah.
The county did not put forth any resolution for the sale, which is something they do on every single sale. The county did not follow 2 of their own resolutions, one which is on the books since 1981, another one that's in the books from 1985, that states that the treasurers must, keyword is must, work with the property owners to be able to regain their properties before they go on the auction block. They have to pay the penalties. They have to pay any special costs, putting it in the auction account, etc., and pay the back taxes. Now, the treasurer said, no, we're not going to do that because it's not fair to the people that come to the auction. We can't take your property off the books. That's unfair.
How did it supersede the fairness of the owner of the property? How did the possibility of it being purchased supersede the owner? You know what I mean?
So you mean the property owner should have the rights to keep their property
Yeah, I'm surprised,
that they
surprised.
paid for in full and have been paying all along and fell on a hardship? Everybody does. Suspect still remains. They wanted that property,
Okay,
and
so
that was it.
I was
A little tidbit.
Yeah.
Never done before in the entire county's history of auctions. When the county when the Forces got their first lawyer, the county demanded they put in escrow a check of a little bit under $21,000 for a tax bill of under $13,000, but I like to use rounded numbers. Now, they took that to put on what is called a stay on the deed, so they felt that was a good thing to do. They've never done that before with anybody else. There is no record of them ever asking anybody to put money down.
So who perpetrated all this? I mean, the county, or was it the sheriff of the county? Was it the tax collector? Who was it that you say identified?
Okay.
Can you identify here?
There is an unscrupulous group of people. The treasurer's office, certain county board members, the county the county lawyer, whose husband also, by the way, just happens to be a magistrate judge over 57 counties in New York State. They never lose any cases. The judge, who was actually a good guy, who actually said, "Can we do this like you do in family court? Let them pay their monies, and let's end this." And the county said, "No, we can't. We have people who want to buy the property." By that statement, the suspect still goes back. The suspect belief is they wanted that property for a specific person.
Do you know
to
by
buy
any
it.
chance who owns the property now? Was it in
Yes,
fact
we know the
somebody on the
person.
auction block? It was somebody who received information from the auction sale?
It was never listed in the auction book. Oh, I didn't tell you that. The property wasn't listed in the auction book. It was pulled out of the printing for the auction book, but the property still was sold at auction. And there was a stay on it that they weren't supposed to transfer the deed, so they didn't until a year later.
So would you say there's a high probability that the current owner has either some kind of paper trail that leads him to the county, or some
Yes, I openly say that, and I don't see any reason why not to. There's just too many similarities in the line of business that the treasurer is in and the guy who owns the property is in.
You and I have talked about this briefly at the meeting we had last week, and I have bumped into 4 people their houses have basically been confiscated. The sheriff's department, the police, the local politicians the local police enforcement. Everybody seems to be connected in some way that they can acquire these properties.
Yes.
My question to you is, it does seem to be a little different in each case. Is there something in play here that we should know as citizens about our own property, the possibility of losing it, or the attempt that somebody may make in this regard?
What happened to Bob and Donna Force is outlandish. What happened to them has happened to many people throughout the county and throughout the state and throughout the country. Keep your records. Make sure you've got every record of when you make a tax payment and you have everything in your hands and at a safe zone to keep an eye on it. Keep an eye on your mail, because you might just get some little stupid letter you don't even expect, and it's just another piece of advertisement. Check it out, make sure.
Okay, you may not know the answer to a lot of these questions I'm going to throw at you here, but they all have to do with other cases that I bumped into, but one of them you just answered. Identifying the perpetrator of these crimes in any type of grouping. I mean, is there a way that we could, as citizens, say that, well, the sheriff's department basically handles foreclosures and things like that. Can they be responsible in other areas to another area, to a homeowner that may be in the same place? Can we assume that there's a possibility that they have something to do with this corrupt sale?
The sheriff is the highest police officer in each county. I'm not talking of the other individuals in it, but the top person, the top sheriff, Suffolk County, is DeMarco. He's like the final guy here in New York, in Suffolk County. When that person breaks the law or allows the law to be broken underneath him, I'm not accusing DeMarco when I said that, but I'm saying when that person allows the people underneath him to break the law, they're equally a part of it.
Right.
The forces were never served eviction notice from the sheriffs.
So in somewhere in that department, we can assume that something might be fishy stemming from the acceptance.
I'm not blaming the sheriff's office up there.
That's okay.
But the sheriff's office is
down here.
Collusion and compliance with the collusion, it goes on everywhere.
Right. Okay.
I don't question that at all.
Like, for instance, with the Suffolk County Police, with Burke having that issue come down on Suffolk County. He's in jail for it, and apparently there's a lot of loose ends, that tentacles of other areas of law enforcement that were abused, that may include a lot of other areas. I was just wondering if they, the police had something to do with it too. Highly
Each
probable.
case is different. I'm not
Okay.
going to deny that, but I will say what I've learned in being involved with politics from the 70s to actively involved for the last 8 years. They're all connected.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're a Republican, a conservative, a Democrat, or an independent. They're all connected.
So in some way that we can help a potential victim out there from getting information about this or having this possibility happen to them, there are some things that they can do. They can look for their mail to find, as you said before, documents,
Keep
right?
your eyes open. It's imperative.
What kind of documents would they be looking for? Some kind of notice from the county?
They send out sometimes registered mail, sometimes not certified mail. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. But they send out letters. And it can just say in the upper corner, Otsego County or Suffolk County, and with an address. Read your mail. We're all way too busy to take time to look through all the garbage.
Thank you.
But read the
I appreciate you for
mail.
saying that. That's okay. It's important.
Keep your records up to date.
And the types of documents, though, could come in different forms.
It could come in a letter. It could come in a legal document. But more times than not, you'll get a notice. I mean, you ever get jury duty notices? You get a little, it's a neat little form.
Tab thing.
It's a neat little form. You rip it off and you've got the whole thing.
Right.
That's an intelligent way of doing it. That makes sense. That's Suffolk County how they do it. I can't say what every other county does.
Are you going to continue to work in this area for other people who have
Yes.
claimed that they've lost property? Okay, because we're going to need to. There's enough people that I know.
Yeah.
I've already filmed several people who have lost their homes.
I need all that
And I would say
information.
illegally.
Yeah.
You know, I have quite a bit of information. You're going to get a lot of it. You're apparently going to be a very busy girl.
I already am, but I understand why.
Yeah.
Your home is supposed to be your castle.
One of the people who lost their home had been also completely free and clear of any mortgage and taxes. She had no debt at all on the property, and the sheriff's department moved in on the property. They put false people into the home, a false car out in front of the garage,
Yeah.
moved signs, and
I heard
made
about
it
the other
appear.
night, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That was somebody that I had filmed. And my question to you is, if this is a form of harassment, I mean,
Yes.
you physically move somebody out. That person can't even move back into their own house comfortably, can't even knock on the door. Because it's their house. They may even have the key still. Who knows? Probably not, but they probably
change the locks, but yeah.
But the point is, it's their property.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a statute of limitations that would eliminate their ownership or secede the...
Now you're getting into the legalese and legal
Yeah.
terms that I don't have answers on.
That's okay.
I
mean,
am.
But something we should know.
People should know that.
That's right.
I don't have that answer.
Right.
The Force Farm has put me into a position where I'm learning a lot more about the legalese and the
And I am
laws that
too,
are
right.
involved with it.
Yeah.
It is a learning aspect every day.
There's one of the people that you're going to hear about soon, and actually I think you already talked about speaking to them, was harassed. There were signs on the wall. People were coming by in the middle of the night writing things. They were bumping the car. They were trying to get these people to move out. That was the case in Brooklyn.
Yes.
They harassed that couple constantly. That couple is still in the home,
Yes.
but they're still not welcome in the home. They're still being harassed.
Yeah, because there's
The
somebody
police
next
won't
door.
stop it. The sheriff's
Yeah.
department won't stop it. The mayor won't stop it, and the local politicians won't stop it. That's a very big grouping.
That's
people.
called control, and that's called money under the table. There's also a little statement that I live by: follow the money.
Yeah.
Find out who's connected with whom. If you follow that money, you'll find out who's connected with whom.
Man, you're not the only one, right? Follow the money is common.
Yeah, well, they're all connected. There's somebody makes a donation to somebody's campaign or to somebody's club or association. You know,
Yeah.
I'm a Girl Scout. I was a Girl Scout leader, and you want me to now do something special for you, and you make a donation to my Girl Scout troop to help them go camping or something. I owe you a favor, and it's all about favors and knowing each other.
Lots of things,
Yeah.
you know, run like that in the private sector and public sector,
Yep.
and I don't have too much problem with people doing favors for one another, but on the taxpayer dollar, it's a little different.
Yeah,
It's not, they really have to answer to me.
we elect them.
That's right.
They're in office because we put them there. They're there as our representatives. Where's the moment the people fear the government, there is tyranny.
Right.
Okay? The moment the government fear the people, we have a republic. We need the government to fear the people, and I don't mean violently. I'm meaning they can be kicked out of office and or held responsible and taken to court. Right now, the forces have taken the treasurer, the county board, the head of the county board, and the county lawyer to federal court in their capacity as their jobs. He's taking them all to court. Now, the county can say, oh, the heck with it, we don't have to worry about it, blah, blah, blah. It's an easy cakewalk, blah, blah, blah. However, once this is all over, then there is the other set of settlements and other issues that come into play. Because there is a huge amount of pain and suffering. Mm-hmm. I'm watching my girlfriend go to hell with her health. This is killing Donna.
Right. Might you also be curious and also take the information down about anybody who comes to the door? Ask them identification, for instance. What's their credential? Imperative.
Right. If somebody says that they're from the county, or if anyone says that they're from the government, they're here to help you. Shut the door, lock it, get a shotgun. But if a person says that they're from the county, you want ID and proof. And if you don't believe it, close the door and say, what's the office phone number? And go Google it. See if that is an office number. In Suffolk County, everything has the same, first three numbers, and then it goes in. If it's social services, they have a set of numbers.
Right, the exchange
is
the same, right?
Find out.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let them in.
You shouldn't trust anybody, and also you might want to consider what we're doing lately is by bringing this to the air, and we're the media, we're one of the medias, mm-hmm. and we're trying to be the responsible media, unlike some of the other media you may be getting information from. You can see that it's sided when you watch the
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, CNN,
it's the
Fox.
Fake, I call it the fake news networks.
Yeah, there's also a lot of play. And being honest with all the networks, there's a little bit of play on political siding, and I understand that there has to be some of that going on because there was no balance points before. Now
there is no such thing as a balanced news network.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
On the mass media.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Doesn't matter which side you're on.
So one of the things you can do is you can select media outlets like ours, which is going to deal with your information directly, and the only thing we might do is like anybody else. Make an effort to put that point on the air so that people can see what they can do to help themselves and what they can avoid, which is what we're doing here. In our last minute here, could you tell me anything at all about what the audience might learn or could learn, other than what we've already said, to help themselves avoid losing their homes or losing their major asset?
Well, just a little statement. If somebody shows up at your door and they say they want to come in, if they don't have a warrant, they don't walk in your door. That's the Fourth Amendment. That's a legal right. Nobody walks in my door and says, well, I'm from the government and I need to come in. Do you have a warrant? No, then you need to get a warrant. Thank you. You can leave now.
That's a fact all the way through. That you don't have to let anybody in unless they have a warrant.
No.
What would the warrant be called in this kind of situation?
That's getting into another level.
It's also,
I don't know.
How do you know anyway? Because you don't know what agency they're from.
Well, a warrant is normally a letter signed by a judge or a form signed by a judge. But that's something people need to find out. What does a warrant really look like? What does it actually...
Oh, that's a good point.
What is a warrant? I mean, I'm not going to go on my computer on Microsoft and go type up a little thing and I can break into your house. It's not a warrant. That's just me doing false news and playing on a computer. So you've got to know what the actual documents are in your area. Any questions? Call the police. Call your local police precinct and ask them to come over. Doesn't mean everyone's honest, but I don't believe everybody is dishonest.
There's no such thing as a helpline to go to. Oh, there's somebody at my door, I don't know what they are. Let me call the helpline. You really got to call what? The local town?
Yeah, there is no local helpline. You're again calling the government, so you'll be on for a while, on hold.
Judy, thank you very much for the help. On savetheforceforum@gmail.com is the email for people to reach you at. And soon we'll be reaching you on some of the other cases.
Thank you very much.
I hope you can help out.
Thanks for the opportunity and time.
Well, you're welcome. You've been watching Gray Matters, the program that shines the light on the society we live in and the need for reform. We keep you up to speed with current events, political and hot-button issues of the day, right into your living room. We will measure the path to distance and syntax that got us where we are today. Gray Matters is a consummate thought-out perspective, and this is the place to get it. Thank you for watching. We'll be right here again next week.